Alright, this is Fullest House, first edition, where we are playing Vaettiheim. It is turn 33, and we are launching a major attack, so yeah, hopefully things go well for us. We'll see. Yes, I forgot to mention, we are bringing some shadow imps in. We're going to send them underwater to do some scouting. Not that we really need to, but I like knowing what's going on. Doing a little bit of scrying somewhere that we weren't able to move a scout. I think this is on top of Patala's capital. And trying to get up some patrollers, both for blood hunting and just to patrol our forts. Speaking of blood hunting, we at least have some blood hunting going on now. These aren't like amazing numbers or anything, but we're actually starting to get a meaningful amount of blood slaves. I think probably the first thing to do is to make a bunch of lifelong protections, because we have the steel ovens. I don't know why that didn't occur to me immediately, but it has occurred to me now. So yeah, we'll just take a quick look at these. He gets Centaur commanders. That could be a bit of a problem, yeah, because they have a lot of armor, but there is just one of them. But still, if he invests more in province defense in some places, that guy actually might trip us up. So that isn't okay. These are the reinforcements that are moving out, right? This is the most dangerous raid, so we're definitely going to lose this Wolf Brother group, no question, and I don't think we're really going to do much in the way of casualties, because, some of these are sacred, so they have awe, and all of them have heavy armor, so we're going to struggle with that. So that is unfortunate. Maybe shouldn't have made that raid, but you never really know for sure. Okay, so it looks like we didn't really need to poke Pangea to get him to come out. I don't know why. I don't know why, but they chose to go into the fort, and now they're coming out of the fort. They didn't want to use their PD. That would be unfair. We've seen this. He has some Bandar mercenaries out in front. Strength of Giants going down. That's cool. I think a little bit of Twist Fate. So pretty much just some army buffs. A little bit of, interesting, some flight casting. I thought he brought some harpies along, but nope, just some flight. Must mean he gets a bit of air, which I didn't know. So some of these elephants are ethereal, which will be a problem for the mundane troops, and it looks like the sacreds didn't get blessed for whatever reason. So the ethereal elephants will be a problem, although they don't have great morale, so you can see a lot of them lighting up due to that built-in awe, and Arco is just really outnumbered here. Although the Bakemono do like the fact that this is in a cave. We have a limited amount of evocation casting going on here. These guys must have been on attack closest. Yeah, because they haven't routed, they almost, some of these guys are going after the mages, because they were about to kill the mages, and then they turned around and they're no, must kill the troops. This doesn't go great for Arcocephaly, and this kind of works out for us in a way, because now I can just hit up Arcocephaly and be like, hey, I'm gonna come in on Abyssia, and I don't think they're gonna have any problem with that, right? They had their shot, so I don't, there won't be any hard feelings when I take their provinces. Not that there normally is anyway. People are, that's why we play this game. It is a war game, but still, when you can be polite about it, why not? Pangea is the true enemy here. Which is true for us, definitely, since we just attacked them, and they didn't lose all that much, right? They lost a good number of these Satyr Hoplites who are expensive. Right? I keep thinking these guys are cheap, but they're really not. It takes a while, I think, to bring these guys in just with their high resource and recruitment cost. Otherwise, not very high losses. This is still a massive army that's going to be pretty effective with some limited but good mage support. I think putting Strength of Giants on is definitely helpful. I also think most pans, probably all pans are going to be able to cast pretty much all the poison resistance buffs that are out there that pan may or may not have. Pangea is not a normal Foul Vapor's target, but we haven't really seen him bring out any nature gems. Now that might just be because of who they were fighting, so maybe he'll switch things up a bunch now that Vaettiheim has attacked him. But maybe not, right? Currently this is definitely at risk from Foul Vapors. I don't know who this Harpy Queen is. This looks like maybe a hero? Nice. That's probably where the flight was coming from, because I was going to say I didn't think Pangea got a ton of air magic, and then of course it doesn't go well for Arco. They lose most everything. Some chaff escapes. Quite a few mystics survive actually, so that's kind of nice. But just considering their situation with Raga, they can't really afford to have a result like this right now. So I think they're pretty much done. And of course we're going to be doing them no favors by raiding away their territory, probably starting this turn. There's no no province defense here. I just want to see one more time, kill one of these centaurs, like see how much it normally costs us. Like it does take us a second there. So I don't think we lose anyone in that raid. Oops, that was the wrong raid. Sorry for that spoiler to all of us. So yeah, it works out, no losses. And I've lost, okay, I think it was Snowford that I ruined, but I didn't actually see the results, so perhaps you didn't either. And this is just Skelly spam, and yeah, just one province defense, and we do put some protection on ourselves, just kind of out of habit. And like, I mean, I don't know, if we don't have to give up the, right? If they can raid another province for us, great. And if they die, great. The beauties of twice borning. And then this is against the barbarians. I was wondering a bit, this is a lot of stuff to be bringing. I mean, no mages, right? So it's like if he's not really doing anything with these troops, then like, sure, right? You know, this will make sure that he has little to no attrition. In fact, like, you know, we don't need to watch this. So yeah, there you go, no attrition. But like, yeah, this is a ton of gold to be using like against this amount of barbarians. So it is a little concerning because it's right on our border, and it's like, okay, I guess Utgard isn't like super busy. But at the same time, right, like no mages, so he's not losing out on any research, and like that's very unlikely. That's not the opener of an attack on us. At least, yeah, it would not be a good opener, and the player seems, you know, good enough. This is enough province defense. I think we will bounce, maybe. I don't know. These heavy cavalry always concern me, but they often seem to rout. Maybe because they have such a small squad. Yeah, this is not going great for us. This is like the really heavily armored like infantry and like heavy cavalry group. We're down to just our commander, who is now routing, and I think like, yeah, he took a limp or something. So like, man, that doesn't work out for us. So yeah, we'll have to remember this province. We'll have, maybe send our skeleton spammers against it. And so like, yeah, you can see like the Wolf Brother groups, they don't always work out, and I have gone down, right? These are the smaller ones. So we've got like 10 in the actual group itself, along with like 2 bodyguards to fill out a square. No province defense here. Yeah, so, you know, mostly I was seeing that it's like there's not really any province defense in Pangea's land. So I'm not really sure why that one, you know, it was probably an event actually, because that looked kind of, I think it was 11 province defense. Because, yeah, Pangea doesn't really seem to be a believer in province defense. And, like, yeah, here's some more of our Skelly spam. And, again, minimal province defense. So we should come away with that. Yep, we do. We don't even lose any of our twice-born mages, so they'll be able to continue raiding. And then this last raid, yeah, I think it's Wolf Brothers, is in the cave. And I forget, I don't think we have dark vision. Yeah, we do not. But then again, right, minimal PD. This guy probably doesn't have dark vision either, so we should be able to come away with that, yeah, with no losses. So overall, like a pretty good opener for the war for us, right? We do lose one group to his group of reinforcements moving out, and like, you know, a fairly heavy, actually like not even that strong of a PD dump. Nonetheless, we do lose to it. And then it looks like Marignon has run out of patience with this dom kill strategy, and, you know, is sending in, oh man, he's not sending in his pretender. I guess, you know, maybe the pretender has better things to do, but like, and that sounded like an air elemental. Hopefully for Marignon, that's a lesser air elemental. Yeah, it is. So that should be fine, right? Like, because there's just so many mundane attacks that some of them will go through. I do like the squad that's going in immediately, right, and not waiting for any buffs or anything like that. Whereas, like, you know, the other squad, probably mostly to try to catch flyers. Although it looks like, you know, Caleb doesn't really have much left in the way of, you know, normal infantry, and it's just like making some undead and other random chaff. So pretty much just down to the casters. But, you know, these wall archers are kind of brutal. Marignon really doesn't like arrow fire. Like, these guys are kind of heavily armored. Yeah, I mean, protection 17 is definitely significant, and I think these might just be, okay, they're at least composite bows, but no shield, right? No shield on a lot of Marignon's troops, and like, yeah, when, you know, when you get trapped in the gap like this, trying to take forts with infantry is like really tough. So I don't know what Marignon's research is like, but like maybe kitting the god out, right, and just sending the pretender in only, like as long as you're good against like lightning, yeah, I don't know. You have to take a look in detail, right, at what exactly these mages could be doing, but yeah, it doesn't work out for Marignon. And so luckily for them, we are otherwise occupied, but like certainly like at this point, if we weren't already on good terms with Marignon, and if it didn't put us in contact like with the coast, this is the kind of situation where you might start thinking like, okay, like maybe Marignon is somebody that we should be attacking. Now, all that said, like they do lose a good number of units, but you know, we've talked about how these swordsmen, like they're not that expensive. And, he does remove like one mage and a decent amount of chaff. I mean, the remaining chaff, but this is all summon chaff. So like they will probably be able to replace this in like just a few turns. So if Marignon is not quick about this is kind of just, a complete waste. So hopefully they have something else ready to go to try another assault. Calum is really giving him a lot of trouble. And then we have a lot of unexpected events. We lose some population. Wickerman, two Wickermen have come to life. Luckily, they're not very good. Let's see. Barbarian Horde. Yeah, we're probably going to lose that province. Tax records lost in a fire. Isn't that convenient? All right, let's take a look at these battles. I think this is where the barbarians are. No, this is one of the Wickermen. So yeah, our province defense, like these guys, I have heard that the Dominion's gods, sometimes you just get them as random units, and then Dominion's gods demand that you thug them out, which is not a good idea. They're not perhaps like the worst thug chassis, but they're a pretty bad thug chassis. They never heal. So anyway, luckily we did not get this guy. He's just coming up against our province defense, and like, yeah, just the cavalry alone, because he has good enough skills, it's unlikely like the Wickerman's ever actually going to be able to land a hit on him. And so like, yeah, our minimal PD, not even a great PD type, is able to take him out. And then, is this the barbarians? This is the barbarians. Where'd the other Wickerman go? And yeah, we're going to lose this province, definitely. We'll have to figure out something, to send out to retake. And then it looks like Pangea also gets attacked by independents. We'll see. Maybe it's just Wickermen, or whatever reason, Wickermen. Tis the season, tis the year, apparently. So he's not going to be able to beat that army. And then this must be our other Wickerman. And I do think we have 6 province defense now. Yeah, in most places. Although this is, wow, and even worse. This looks like early era province defense. How come he's not attacking like one of our ones that has, but like, yeah, even the militia. Well, I don't know. They're not. He does actually have decent protection. So like, we could lose this. You see the fatigue too starting to stack up, right? It's like taking them so long. Okay, it does say independent armies are routed, but I guess we had to kill them for whatever reason. So it does work out, demonstrating that, like, yeah, the lumber constructs, not a great unit. And then we get discovered in Satis. Let's just take a quick look. This is on Satis' capital. I knew there's a pretty good chance we were going to lose him, but I just kind of wanted to see, like, is he patrolling? What's he patrolling with? I've talked about, I think Satis is probably a decent player based off of, what I've seen of him so far. And, like, yeah, doing a good job of just patrolling with, like, something that's, like, scary enough, that, right? He's got the poison slingers, so, like, that's not mundane damage. So if, like, some random thug jumps in, are they ready for slingers? And he's got a few sacreds and these falchineers, quite a few of them, fairly high damage attack. Like, this is enough stuff to be scary, but, like, no mages, right? So he's not losing out on any research or anything. And, this is kind of just there, probably in the background, like, every turn patrolling. So yeah, I need to get better at this. Like, I'm not patrolling my forts enough, or at least not early enough. So yeah, I very much like that. And then yeah, speaking of patrolling, we kill some brigands, and I'll catch you guys after the jump. All right, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. I guess, the most important thing is to say that we're chickening out. So, talked about how, we're going to be able to smash these mundane armies really easily, and this, that, and the other. We'll foul vapors them, and now, of course, actually, looking at the numbers involved, I'm getting a little bit of cold feet. So Pangea has, 230 units left, pretty much all of which are fairly heavily armored. And, he was getting pretty good coverage, even though he doesn't have a lot of mages here, with his pans for, like, Legions of Steel. And, like, the Satyr Hoplites are probably the least armored units. So, like, those guys are protection 19. The Dryad Hoplites, okay, are about the same protection. And he may not have the Bandar Warriors because they're mercenaries, I believe. So, and that's, again, we kind of struggle a bit, even with the Rimvetti, to break through the heavy armor. And of course, like, that is somewhat, what the crossbowmen are for, but to his 230 units, we actually only have 186, and, our front line are the Rimvetti. Now, there's no cold resistance, so, as long as our Rimvetti don't go down quickly, which they probably won't with all the point buffing, we should put his units to sleep, then our crossbowmen will be able to do their work. But we are outnumbered, right? And, we don't have much of a front line, and the Rimvetti, there's no strength on the Bless, so we're only dealing 18 slash damage, which is pretty much just chip damage on all of his units. So, like, we do need the combat to kind of drag out. Now, of course, we can do that with bugs. But his Minotaur are also tramplers, which I think usually is not that helpful. But against us, like a size 3 trampler could actually be a bit of a problem. I'm not sure like how significant it is. But yeah, I just felt that I still think we could win. It's just a question of like how many casualties are we going to take. And of course, if we want to do foul vapors, we kind of need to drop off our crossbowmen, in which case like we really don't actually have like all that many units, right? Like maybe 60 or 70, and like the Rimvetti are really tough, but 60 or 70 units, especially size 1 units, like there's a bit of concern that like our mage core is just going to get wiped out, right? Because we're going to get completely surrounded. And while some bugs have poison resistance, others do not, so we'll probably be killing off like our own bug chaff with foul vapors. And so, yeah, the foul vapors play also isn't like super appealing, and as we don't actually have much conjuration, I was tempted to like summon in some horned serpents or something like that, just some HP that is poison resistant to hold things up. But I figured, why not waste some more research, because I like doing that. So we're going to bring up, a couple of our Death 2s. And they're also going to bring up, some siege strength, and we have some other siege strength coming up. And I think, like, with the extra skeleton production, like, in either case, whether we bring the crossbowmen or whether we go for the foul vapors play, like, we should have enough chaff, to take minimal losses. Again, I still think we would win, and probably somewhat handily, but I also don't really feel the need to risk it. On the one hand, it's like, okay, we need to move quickly to, deal with Raga. On the other hand, I kind of feel like Raga might be our next target anyway, so it's like there's really no rush. Like, let Raga, fight Arco and, take that if they want to clear this throne for us. That's cool. And I kind of want to see how Pangaea reacts, right? Because, maybe this army just starts to go home. In which case, like, we may just leave, like, right? It can become Marignon's problem, assuming they ever manage, to get their act in gear and take Calum, and then, move on to Pangaea's capital. So anyway, we're going to take one turn to build up, right? If Pangaea walks at us, we'll probably just let him jump on top of this fort. A lot of our stuff is hiding, so depending on how familiar they are with Vaettiheim, they may not realize, like, how many troops we could have in this location. So, if we get the opportunity to ambush them, that's great. If they choose to, hang out or start heading home, then we'll go ahead and move out, and go for Abyssia. This will also, I don't know if Arco, definitely there's a few commanders running around, right? There's some mystics here when we're attacking. I'm assuming that the majority of Arco's stuff is going to start pulling out. I don't think there's any commanders here, and I don't think there's any commanders here. So we're going to try to send our mages in to take this. There's a good chance they die, but they're twice born, so that's kind of what they're there for. And if these mystics decide to hang out, there's a good chance that this raid fails as well. Also, I thought that this was a Wolf Brother group until just now, and this turn has rolled, so we're just going to have to live with this stealthy crossbow raid that I was not planning on. But basically all the same things still hold. If the Mystics hang out, we're probably in trouble. There's no province defense here, and there's a good chance Arco won't bother to leave any, so if the Mystics pull out, we'll take it no problem. But anyway, and we're not going to raid here, right? We're hoping that, whatever Arco has left is going to start going home. Not that I think it's going to make a huge difference, but any additional pressure that they can put on Raga is going to be good for us. So we're going to do a little bit of raiding. We're going to wait and see, how Pangaea reacts to this attack, and then act accordingly, depending on what they do. Otherwise, more or less full mage recruitment. Actually, no, I think we did have to cut a little bit. I know that we're making some priests up here. We are definitely struggling still to get mages out of, all of our infrastructure. And of course, we're building another fort here. So in 3 months, we're going to have even more mages that we need to be building. And we've actually switched over to enchantresses here. I don't know. I talked about how we really do want some more earth. So in that sense, it's good. But, we're going to be getting half the number of mages. So is it worth it? They are more expensive. I don't know. We're doing enchantresses there. Eventually, we will probably build a fort here too. And we are going to try to expand our blood hunting operation down here. Speaking of forts, I feel like we should have a fort here as well. I don't know. Just having the steel ovens unforted as we start to filter more and more mages into it, right on the border with 2 people, it makes me nervous. So we may eventually build a fort here as well, but probably not for a good long while. In terms of our forging, we're mostly just doing like Boots of the Messenger for now. Once our blood hunting gets going a little bit better, we're definitely going to get some lifelong protections out. I think we are moving, a blood 2 there, because you do need a blood 2 to forge those. And the Boots of the Messenger are really just to help move like our little Veti casters around, because they are incredibly slow otherwise. So I'm really finding that it's like having some mobility items to shift them around saves you a lot of time, and I do think it's worth it. Doesn't hurt that we're getting a discount, and then we're going to try to get rid of these barbarians with our garrison force, so we'll see, right? We've seen this kind of stuff before, a little bit of point buffing, and then we do have Frozen Heart unlocked now, which is something that a lot of the Veti casters can cast, so and barbarians aren't going to love that, so yeah, right? This should be enough to take out some barbarians. We shall see. Otherwise, a lot of these movements are just site searchers and things like that. And then troop recruitment wise, of course, we're getting our Rim Veti, a little bit more siege strength, would like a little more. It is pretty gold expensive though. And then we are getting some berserkers on the border here. Like I said, we're a little low on the numbers, so just going to try to fill those out a little bit. And then just in case those that attack against the barbarians go bad, and this is one of our border forts, we're just getting a few more berserkers down here. In terms of our scouting, I don't think we've caught anything too interesting. We are moving some more scouts into Satissa's territory because we don't really know what Satis is up to. We have a non-aggression pact with them, but they might be interested in going after Marignon, especially if they've been watching that Kalem situation. Although Marignon has still a substantial defensive force here on the border. And then we know that Phlegra is over here not doing fantastic. Midgard also doesn't look that big, and I believe Satis borders them. So anyway, it's been a little while since we've, checked in on Satis, so I'm going to try to get some more information there. And of course, still trying to get information on the northern shore of this main lake. And, we don't know where Atlantis is yet. So we have a scout, kind of headed in that direction, really from both sides of the lake. And we can see that Joman here is bordering Marignon. So yeah, Marignon is actually not massive. I think that, they got a really good start, but this war against Kalem just has not gone fantastic. Although I do think that they have plenty of options for expansion. Joman actually seems like they're doing decent, right? I think, they're in the middle of trying to eat Tianqi and have kind of mostly eaten Tianqi. So, we'll see how far they extend to the north. But it looks like if Atlantis is still alive, they're probably not very big. Marignon also has some options. Pythium is not huge, but not small either. But that's a possible fight. So yeah, anyway, always want to consider, right, what your neighbors could be doing, because if they have no other options, then, perhaps they will choose you. But I don't think we're at any risk there. And then let's see, still keeping an eye-ish on the Raga situation. We don't have great views into their interior, but we at least have some scouts near some other, more odd borders where people might decide to launch attacks. So if we see that, hopefully we'll catch that, or rather, if that happens, hopefully we'll catch that. And then of course, so I talked about how we got caught by this group, which we did, just not in the province where I figured we would get caught. Really have no idea why these troops would move out to this province. Maybe Pangaea's thinking about attacking Raga. I was thinking possibly a site searching, but I don't think there's any mages in this group. So yeah, complete mystery, but it doesn't really change the calculus too much. We're not doing any raiding, right? We're just kind of moving our stealthy units around. We're actually gathering a lot of our wolf brothers together in this province, and then we will probably try to hit, these two provinces with the large group, because, this is where we bounced to the province defense. So, ideally we use a larger group to clear that out, but, depending on how much counter raiding he does, we may not bother, trying to go that far north. We're not really trying to defend anywhere, just all, one PD, just want to see, how he responds. I expect, this group will probably recapture something. We might actually try to ambush this group, with all of our wolf brothers. But again, just kind of want to see, how Pangaea reacts, and then, depending on how they do, we'll take it from there. So yeah, I think that covers turn 33.